Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Well, looks like we once again find ourselves speaking into a mic.
hmm
And you all, listeners, find yourselves a captive audience by choice, because this is Always Strikes Late, the now predominant variant of Always Strikes Last. And we're here to talk some Age of Sigmar with you.
Tons of Sigmar. It's the
Yes.
life of Sigmar, baby.
Yeah. And if
Absolutely.
you see the VOD, my head's a little bit too big. I'll adjust that later. But I did fix my autofocus. So we're getting mostly there, everybody.
That's
Perfect.
true. That's true.
Adjusting to the new zone.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a good episode, I think. We get you, Mason, here to talk, Sparkle Party. Got a couple of
hmm
perspectives coming in from that big event, and of course,
Yeah.
I don't want to bury the lead too much. You did quite well with it. So this is just going to be
hmm
a fun dialogue and a kind of hero's journey for you. Where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
did your flesh eater courts in this, and then a little later on, next couple of episodes, we'll probably bring in Dill, who you might have encountered across this particular, arc.
Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah.
that too.
hmm
But without further ado, Mason, tell us about this event. What is the Sparkle Party
Yeah.
tournament? How
Yeah.
big was it? What
So,
was it doing?
Sparkle Party Deathmatch is a Dimensional Cascade run tournament. They do them twice a year here up in Seattle area.
Shout out Dimensional
Historically,
Cascade.
historically, up until this event, we've held them at the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars
hmm
location in Ballard, and raised money for them, which is really cool. But he's outgrown it, and so to this time
Oh.
we were at a park like 2 or 3 miles up the road from the VFW. They're still in Ballard, and
Good
we
on you,
raised
Beasley.
like 1,500 or 3,000 for some reason I can't remember, but one of those two numbers
hmm
worth of money for the Parks Department. So
Huh.
and so it was
Nice.
at a community center.
Cool.
Um, yeah, it was a ton of fun. It was our largest event in the PNW to date that was not a US Open, like Games Workshop run hosted
Yeah.
event. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I peeked online at the BCP, and I thought I saw like 71 or 72 players, which is kind of like a low number, for a tournament.
Yeah, yeah. I think there were like 80 something
Hmm.
signed up, but there were like 7 or 8 drops. So yeah, I want to say the
Happens.
final number was like 72 or 73. But yeah, big event for us. And it's awesome that I continue to go to a local events that I attend year after year, and I continue to see more and more new faces. Like that's awesome. I
Yeah.
still see a lot of the same faces, right, too, but
Yeah.
which is a welcome. But yeah, it's nice to see the everything growing, the tournament itself, the player base, the scope and range in which people are flying in for this event. Like he brought up headhunters. Beasley did like a headhunter trophy kind of a thing throughout the event
Hmm.
and said, if you're on Team PNW or you have been on Team PNW or you're part of Team USA, like that for Team America for
Uh,
the World's
For
team,
Worlds.
right?
Yeah.
Because a few people from the World's team flew up for this event. He's like, you guys come up here, and then said
hmm
basically, don't let any of these guys have any takebacks. Give them a hard time.
hmm
Fight your hardest game with them, and the person who takes down the most headhunters is going to get a trophy at the end of the tournament.
You
So,
love to see
um,
it.
yeah, but it's kind of crazy. He brings up, there's like 15 people in this room that
Yeah.
are like,
Out of
so yeah,
70. That's nice.
yeah. So it's cool. He got some really strong folks, and quite a few new faces. Really cool to see the growth of that tournament too. And then Beasley's
Yeah.
always has a ton of awards, but the pinnacle, or like the big prizes, are the mats. So best general, best overall, best sports, and best paint. First
Mhm.
place in each of those.
hmm
It's a full table mat. A game mat with
Oh,
that's the artwork of that year's event. So it's black and white.
nice.
It's the
Well,
full
that's
artwork.
cool.
And it
hmm
has lines because Ricky's mats always have
They
like
do.
TTS lines, basically, like
Yeah.
a
Oh
grid
yeah, to
system.
tell you everything where it is. Like
Yeah,
that's a
it's
I
good one.
love
amazing.
Ricky's Mats so much,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. They're
Such a
really
cool thing
cool.
from the
And
stream back in the day.
yeah. And so there's only, a few of them that ever
hmm
get made, four of each, right? And so that's like
Yeah.
the real first place prize. Also, Beasley surprised everyone at the end and announced that Games Workshop actually put some skin in the game and
Oh,
offered some prize support. And so each of those mats, each of those four winners were also awarded some amount or capacity of book codes,
Hmm.
like what they give
That's
away
right.
for ITC and stuff like that.
Oh
So
shit.
Those are great. Very erratic.
Mhm.
I didn't know that was a
When they
thing, to
come
be
out,
honest with you.
oh yeah, it's neat. I mean, the TOs get them.
Yep.
Winners
Yeah.
for
You get a lot of
ITC
40K
get
books, I
them.
hear.
Yes,
That's
you
true.
absolutely do. I remember when I was getting those, they just sent like everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. In any case, that's awesome. Like seriously, they're
Yeah.
growing
I
it.
gotta
There's
try
more
harder at
variety.
tournaments if they give me book
Yeah.
codes now. My God.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean,
Mason, we're gonna go in the time chamber together, but this is
that's a
about you,
necessary
buddy.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
not go too far afield.
I know Rocco's already wondering. I'll just start out. Okay. Day one,
Uh-huh.
I started with a ghost. Okay.
Good man.
What did I
Dude.
start with, you ask?
We've
Orange
trained him
cream,
good.
Rocco, of course.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, you
I
had
was
to with this
channeling
list.
Rocco. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
exactly.
I feel the love.
So just I needed to get that out because I knew you were dying to know.
It's my favorite
course.
question to ask that no one
Yeah, we
asks on
were
any other show.
ghosting, getting the ghost. Hit up
We're
your local
firing on
store
all
for ghosts.
cylinders.
They don't
you know.
sponsor us yet, still, but
Yeah.
They will. There's a
talk to your
specter in
local
the
rep for us.
Spooky
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So good.
But yeah,
It scams
I was
me.
playing. Yeah, exactly. I was playing a Flesh Eater Quartz list that ran Nagash and Usharon.
Yes.
Rocco is familiar with it because I ran it in our in-house Always Strikes Last TTS
RTT,
official
yeah.
RTT
We've
inaugurate
alluded.
RTT.
And
Yeah.
yes, I was a practice game. He got me.
A contributing member to my success. And so
I appreciate that. That's way too kind.
yeah. So it's like it's a very small list. It's Nagash, Usharon, 6 Morbeg Knights, 6 Horrors, and then a Courtier hero that you make a priest, and he's there for like a revive battery, basically.
Yeah.
It kind of plays like a Mega Gargant list, man. Like Usharon and Nagash are legit Mega Gargants.
They are.
And then 6 Morbeg Knights and 6 Horrors can bend and curve and do different things.
They're wound dense enough. They do just enough damage.
Yeah, so
you
it's like Mega Gargants Plus, right?
You know, with Nagash being able to bring back a full unit instead of a half a unit. And because Nagash can't spend the points that you generate for Noble Deed points, he's constantly a battery for Feeding Frenzy, which is really nice.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that you get is a decision paralysis sometimes of how do I spend my points or what hero do I keep safe? And when it's a 9-cast wizard throwing endless spells that no one can get near, that's supercharging your army with the Feeding Frenzy. Remind me, Mason, what does that do exactly for our listeners?
+1 attacks for everyone wholly within 12.
Which is huge on that
or
big
24
base.
if you're Oosh. Let's not forget about that.
Yes, wholly 24 of Usharon, The really cool thing that I didn't realize was the best effect is actually like when you play Nagash in Flesh Eater Quartz with Usharon, you get to pick a delusion, and you are always going to take Defenders of the Realm, which is +1 save when you're touching an objective, right? So Nagash gets like +1 save for standing on an objective, which is just cool. But beyond that, because you stack your own Feeding Frenzy, he actually just gives himself +1 attack on both profiles for also being infect. So he ends up being on 5 attacks each instead of 4. And that's big because those are like powerful attacks. Like
well, he's sort of like he's the buffest, fightiest Nagash you're ever gonna have because he's sitting there on effectively a 2-up save because you still have all defense if you need it. And like the extra attacks, it's like come swing at me.
And the rampage. Hand of Dust not being a spell anymore, it's just a rampage if you're still in combat with them.
We did Hand of Dust some stuff for sure.
So
I love that.
So not breaking your back in terms of bringing the models around. Like probably one good shoebox is worth, but
yeah, exactly. I just carried it on the display board, just brought it there on the board. I don't protect stuff very well, but I was really excited to play it because I had just gotten the Nagash all finished up, and so
nice.
I got the golden ticket at Cascade Clash, so. Effect didn't get nerfed. I just got the Nagash. This was really fun. I also had a really cheeky name that I wanted to name the list.
What's your name?
And this event. Okay, hold on. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sit tight, baby. Sit tight.
Okay.
So this event had a special thing. The content channel on YouTube, Saga of Dice. They review a lot of lists ahead of local GTs,
Mhm.
and they always care about the names, right? They're always
Mhm.
judging people based on the list names. Well, Beasley is always involved, and he's good with them, and they're a local group. So
Mhm.
he offered up a first, second, third place for best list name as voted by Saga of Dice, right?
That's
so there
fun.
was in the pack, there was like an incentive to have a fun and unique and cool list name because there were
Mhm.
prizes for it, right?
I was
So
wondering about
um,
that. Yeah.
yeah, so there was tons and tons of people that went out. Normally you see like at a 45 person, you got like 25 with names and 20 with Soulblight Gravelords or whatever
Yeah.
the app adds.
Yeah.
Okay. This one was like 80% participation and there were a ton of bangers. Okay.
Nice.
Um
Hit me
for
with
the
the
fairness of everyone else and for the greed of myself, I'll only tell you my name,
Okay.
which was Two Dads, One Chalice. Okay.
I love that name. I love that name. The
Yeah.
internet loves that name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Google it,
exactly.
Google
Yes,
it,
it does.
everybody, if you're listening.
Yeah.
If you
yeah.
know, you know.
So I did end up taking gold for best name. So I found out before the tournament happened because they did the show live and they voted and so I knew going in that I had gotten first place on that one.
So you were already winner even before the first game.
Yeah,
Even
and
before
you know
that.
what? It was funny because when I came up with the name, I said
Mhm.
in my club chat Discord like a week and a half earlier, I said if
Yeah.
I don't win best name, I'm gonna riot. Like,
Oh yeah.
Which is
and
also an
after
energy
hearing
drink.
the names, I was
Ah.
pretty shocked that I was still the winner because they were really good ones. So I would have been
Nice.
fine with it, but yeah,
Mhm.
I was really content with that. That was my true masterpiece of the list itself. So anything else didn't really matter, but we're
We'll,
going
we'll
best
golf clap.
lab.
We'll golf clap. I mean, it works really well with the list,
It
right? Because
does.
you have these
Yeah.
two massive centerpiece models, and
Two dads, yeah.
Which are
it-
really
And there was only
freaking
one
cool.
chalice. There's only one,
yeah,
so
it's
it's fine.
on so many levels. But okay. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
show up. You show
So
up day one.
which endless spell list did you take? Did you actually go feck ones or did you go morbid?
No. I went morbid. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay,
Spec
so you have
ones are
morbid
great, but with
conjuration.
Nagash, you want all the juice.
Yeah, I agree. That's
Yeah,
I was making sure we're on the same page. All
I,
right.
Kind of
I
need that.
brought my chalice though, obviously.
Oh, good.
Yeah, of course. It sat in between them on the
Physically
display board. Yeah.
to show them that you were legit in your naming convention.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
totally
I'm
makes
not
sense.
this is an amateur hour. Like I
Yeah.
earned that,
What kind of podcast
So-
do we run in here, Jack?
I
Right,
know, right? I
exactly.
mean, well, he's passed. He's got a street cred here, and we know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
the sweet ghost spectral energy liquid had passed your lips, and you show up for game one. Where did this
Right.
start, Mason? Who's your first?
Yeah, so round one, I just got out of the docs here, pardon my eye drift. Round one was Border War, which isn't my favorite mission for a list like mine, but and it's the Wild West for round one, right? Like you could play anybody, first a GT player or Team America Worlds player. You never know who you're getting, right?
Or little Timmy who just showed up with his new Skaven from the starter box.
Exactly. Selfishly, of course, I always hope I fight weaker armies or stuff that I can fight easier on harder missions, right? Because if I can get an easier matchup on a less favorable mission, it's easier for me to play into my disadvantage. So Border War, not a terrible one, but not my favorite, right? So
what kind of army are you considering an easy matchup then? What are you looking to get into?
As weird as it says, whereas it sounds, it's kind of challenging to say. Like I kind of want different things at different times, but I definitely don't want wide maps. Things like Scorched Earth, limited resources, those can be challenging. Additionally, stuff like Border War and Battle for the Past can be challenging. And so if they if they're an army that has any amount of teleport with a high density body count, then I can't really extend out, and I do want to extend out. So if we're playing on missions like that, it can be hard for me to overtake a backfield and get through enough stuff to touch those points and take them, and I easily lose them because I'm so few models. I'm like 15 models total.
That makes sense, right? You got some hard hitting power, but at the end of the day, you're a really small footprint. They can swamp you with guys you just can't kill fast enough. The DPS check in the other direction. Totally get
exactly. And I can deal a lot of damage. Yeah, I can deal a lot of damage, but that doesn't mean I can move still. Right. So nevertheless, I was playing into Iron Jaws on Border War.
Okay.
And it was about an ideal matchup as I could get, honestly, because they're not so dense that I'm that worried about it, and their tricks are much more visible, or like on the table, as I like to call it, like
They play a more honest game of Warhammer.
Exactly, you're right. They do get Mighty Destroyers, which is a powerful, tricksy little thing, but it's all face up. It happens first. I know what's happening, right? Okay, so I have enough damage to punch through that list, and I can contest it on the points. So I'm feeling pretty good into Iron Jaws on Border War, playing against Jason. Gosh, I can't always pronounce the last name. Uratescu. Local guy, really nice guy. I went to Canada with him and another buddy of ours, Tom, for that Canadian tournament. Yeah, really nice guy. It's the first time I think we've been able to play a game. Jason also bought my Nurgle from me a couple of years back. That was the first interaction I ever met him. Like my whole huge Nurgle collection. Won me so many events and stuff. But yeah, played against him in the first round, and he made a couple of questionable choice decisions. We talked about it after the game, like putting his big pig too far forward just to like live there. So I just got to just dumpster on it and then use it to kind of slingshot into the rest of the stuff on an open side, because he was using that to protect a left flank. And then I was able to put like both heroes and the horrors into the Ardboy unit to try to just like demolish it quickly, was pretty successful with that. So we had a 2-hour game, and I want to say the score to this one was, I can't even see that. My score was 45. If I remember correctly, his score was something like 25 or 30, something in that range. Yeah. So we were in it. We were going through the motions. We were playing. But it was pretty favorable for me because I felt like I could punch through. He didn't have as many bodies to make it so challenging for me to take the backfield. And Iron Jaws have to leave home to do anything. So he's kind of in a similar position to what my army feels in, just a little bit more protection. However, not nearly the hitting power or the revive. That's the big thing, is that the recursion for this army is so strong. Weirdly enough, I did not have to use Nagash's ability to return models or Usherons in this game. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. I did win that game. Going into round 2, I played against a gentleman named James Huffaker. I think it was maybe only his like first or second GT. Oh, wow. And I could be wrong about that, but he definitely told me he is a newer player still. So nevertheless, quite a new face to me. So he's definitely not been playing at a GTs that I've been to, which,
and he was local like guy, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So newer guy. Yeah. Pleasant fellow. He was playing what his list was called Purple Pokeball. So he had like 20 Chosen and the Gaunt Summoner and Be'lakor and the Forbidden Power.
Very nice.
He won the die roll in our game. We were both 2 drops. He won the die roll and decided he was going to take first turn. It's like,
you wanted the alpha.
Yeah.
You know, that's fair with the Gaunts. You know, you don't want to have them inside the Gaunt Summoner and then the Gaunt Summoner goes pop. So I respect
I definitely couldn't have gotten back there, but I mean, I get it. He was like, I'm not sure what to do, and I'm just going to send it and see what happens. I was like, I love that attitude. And so he did. And you know what? I like failed all of my things that could have helped me. Like he did the whole bridge setup, and normally in that instance I countercast with Nagash and put the Maelstrom out as far as I can, because now where you put the bridge to be 9 away, you have to be like way farther back, so you're just you're not utilizing the bridge to charge there anymore. And then I also zone off a section, so I like control where you can drop in with the Gaunt Summoner.
I want you to say that again for the listeners in the back, how you're countercasting to deny space with an endless spell.
Yeah, okay. So
that's smart.
Right. Okay. So the Slaves to Darkness or cities or anyone using the Soul Screen Bridge wants to set up one piece normally really close to the unit that wants to utilize it, and then the other one as far away as they can, but in such a way that you can set up the unit in front of the second piece of the Soul Screen Bridge and be exactly 9 away from the enemy unit, because you have to stay outside of 9 when you set up and wholly within 6 of the Soul Screen Bridge. So you set it up in such a way that you've got these two pieces like this, boom, and then the models are going to sit freely on the outside of them. So now that you know where they want to put the models, right? You can then countercast as long as you have the appropriate range, and you throw out the endless spell that has a movement characteristic. You throw that out at max distance in front
Usually
of your
12
line.
inches. Yeah.
Yeah, wholly within 12, right? In front of your line now, as close to that soul screen bridge as possible. Because now the space that they set out for, they cannot drop there because they have to be outside of 9 of this endless spell that exists now when they want to use the bridge. So you can effectively like create a huge buffer of safety, this like huge no drop zone with using the Malevolent Maelstrom, right? And you do that one, you save that one because it's the cheapest one to cast of the Morbid Manifestations, and it's small enough that it's like not going to get in your own way. So but I didn't get it off in this instance, which is like usually an easy trick with Nagash to just stop that.
You need like
I
a
see
6
that,
to get it off, even
right?
like a negative. Yeah.
I got a 3-inch redeploy, but of course both of these units of Chosen have 3d6 charge, so he needs 10s on both charges to come in.
Doable.
And I didn't get strike last on the unit of Chosen that was going into Ushuran. So I needed a 2 up, right? So like all of the worst things that could have happened did happen, right? All of my things that make me, oh yeah, I'm pretty safe into slaves did not happen. And he was sending it, right? He made all the charges. So I have 20 Chosen into me at where I deployed. A couple of things helped me here. One is that I bubble wrapped Ushuran with the horrors. So even though I failed to strike last, he could only put 5 Chosen into Ushuran and 5 Chosen into the horrors.
We call that good screening, people.
He did double fight, right? He did double fight with both of them, of course.
I got you, Jack.
So he does that. He does that fight first into Ushuran and splits them 5 and 5, and he kills 5 of the horrors. And he deals like 8 or 9 damage. Yeah, 5 of 6. Ooh. Yeah, with the first fight, and then he deals like 8 or 9 damage to Ushuran. So that unit's done. Awesome. I go up with the Morbeg Knights and punch into the other unit of Chosen that charged me up top, and I roll quite well with my damage, and I kill 5 Chosen before they get to activate.
Oh wow.
Good shit. Good shit. Good swing.
Right. So he retaliates right there. And kills like maybe 1 or 2 of the Morbeg Knights through an all-out defense. And so then I get to go with Ushuran and the 1 horror left, and I think that collectively they killed 7 of the Chosen. Ushuran hit for like 21 damage or something like that, and the horror champion took out 1 on his own also. Nice. So 3 more for the double fight there did not kill Ushuran, and then the double fight up top with the 5 Chosen maybe killed 1 more Morbeg. But I knew at that point it was going to be real tough for his list to do anything, right?
Yeah. He shot his shot. If you aim for the king, don't. No, the Thanos, you should have gone for the head.
Yeah. It's like he came in and I killed more Chosen than he killed models of mine. And then on my turn, I get all those models back. Yeah. He does lock up one of them. Maybe if it might have been Ushuran, it might have been the Gash. I don't know. One of them gets Bellicord and does nothing. I want to say it was the Gash, but it didn't matter. It's like killed the Chosen and then gave him turn. And he had to run away for a tactic, basically. And then it was just...
Yeah, he's out of units to do tactics with.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I ended up winning that one. I want to say that one was like 46-26, something like that.
Nice.
And then, feeling good off of 2 wins. What? Oh yeah, just for the viewers at home, that was on Jaws of Galet. So
now that mission is tricky as anything, as we all learned in the was recent.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
I actually just replayed that in a local thing. I love that battle plan. I do.
It's got a weird meta of its own, but it is a fun battle
Yeah.
plan. Yeah,
Yeah, I like it's different. It keeps it
it is
fresh.
different.
It's one of those you have to like know there's some tricks to it, or you can
Yes.
easily get yourself kind of burned. Which is
Right.
good to have a couple missions like that, which are just like
Yeah.
burr,
That
maybe
limited
or done.
resources, man. Oh,
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
what was the score of this one, Mason?
I think it was like 46-26.
You know, I'm feeling better at the 48-42 we did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every
No, you did
time
great.
you say this,
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel a little bit better. That was a fun
should.
game to start with.
Yeah.
But, ugh.
Round
Good
3, I had
shit.
to play a club mate and my good buddy Nick Gonzalez.
Nice.
He's
Yeah.
a fellow Corsair up from SoCal. We had a huge Corsair gathering at Sparkle Party. There was like 12
Nice.
or 13 of us that came up and did a
Wow.
huge Airbnb.
Love that.
People from Texas, SoCal, Central Oregon, Northern Oregon.
Y'all got guys in Texas
Oh,
too?
that's so fun.
Yeah, Bear's out in Texas.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got people all over the place because we have Jeremy Vessier over in your neck of the woods, Jack.
That's right.
Yep,
He
yep.
moved. Yeah.
Yep, he's in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so round 3, this one was Battle for the Pass, and Nick was playing Soulblight Gravelords. So this is another one where it's kind of go ahead.
Real question. Did Beasley have the table set up so you could walk all the way around the table?
Yeah, we were good.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
sometimes a Battle for the Pass, TOs, because you have to, because space is limited, they line up all the
Yeah.
tables
Yep.
and they say go. And
We
they're
had
like,
plenty
"Hey,
of
man."
room. We were playing in like a giant gymnasium.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they have like really thick plywood table toppers that set up on tables and stuff. So the DC's
Wonderful.
got it all planned out. They get a U-Haul every time. They pack it all in, pack it all out.
That's awesome. So he is down to science at this point.
Exactly. Yeah, he does it plenty.
Between him, Ricky, and anyone else, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
His lovely wife too. I'm sure probably planning enough stuff. They're a great crew.
Yeah, they are great. But yeah, this one into Nick Gonzalez, Soulblight Gravelords. This is another one where I was just talking about. This one in Border War can be challenging missions for me, and Soulblight potentially can be scary because they have the bodies and the teleport and the revive, right? Like, it's all the worst case scenarios for me. I had some things go my way. I think I got an early double turn, like a double turn 1 into 2, and just really helped me out. But
were they more hoardy? Were they blood knights? Like what kind of list were they?
He had Manfred and 40 Graveguard and 20 dogs and a couple of heroes and
hoardy enough and Graveguard still slap. And
a couple of units of skeletons. But basically what he did was he like dropped some stuff. Or he made 2 screens, like 2 little walls like this, and then dropped in everything or brought it all out of reserve, like the Graveguard, both boom behind these screens. And then dropped in 1 unit of skeletons in my backfield to like do it to start being annoying, right? So that play made sense. The Graveguard both coming in turn 1 in safety didn't make sense. And I talked to him about this a bit afterwards, but like now, if you're not going to do anything with them anyways, why have them out? Because you're risking getting doubled here and then just getting them crippled, or like me getting a long bomb charge and pulling them in and tagging them and fighting them unnecessarily. You have the luxury of keeping them safe. So just have your screen walls and have nothing. Keep a hollow space behind it, But
because he wasn't setting up for like if you piled into the screen, he'd hit back.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
He was just trying to have it be like a prophylactic, like you have to deal with this or you come at me thing. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like Mason's saying, that again, another thing to pick out here. When you have the deep striking to protect your important units that can turn the tide of the battle, it's really nice to keep them hidden.
Right. And if you are going to do something like what Nick did, you should set it up in such a way that if I engage your unit A, your wall that you set up, the Graveguard have a nice, easy counter charge, right, to come in. But if you set your guys up like to not be pulled in and in safety, you might as well have just kept them in reserve because they're eternally safe in there. So,
and then you protect from the double turn.
Yeah, or what he could have done is like done that with 1 unit just to like get it out, because maybe he's thinking, okay, next turn I can actually like Lash of the Sire, move these up, and be closer than 9 inches to the front line. But I think if that was the rational, then you take the other 20 and you drop it on the other side of where you put the skeletons and really box me in. Put 20 guys over there by themselves, like, I'm gonna get you, and you have to deal with this. And then 2 walls with 20 here right behind it. So if I do engage, you are fighting, right? Because you want to clap back, and you have the revive mechanic. So like, I think there are some ways that it could have been more dangerous. But like, my army's hard to play into, and I think it is intimidating because there are 2 big dudes, right? So you are so this one went a little back and forth early. I got to deal a lot of damage, but this game I ended up hand of dusting 3 heroes, including Manfred. So,
I mean, Manfred deserves it. Don't get me wrong. But,
right? Yeah, good night, my son. And just dusted him, right? And then I think I got Radikar the Wolf, the little her city guy, and then there was one more hero. Can't remember who it is. It's a little one. Prince. Maybe the Necromancer.
Okay. So I 2 dust total for this game. I mean, you
probably 3 dust.
Okay, nice.
3 dust on this, Neither of the game with Jason nor James had any dust. I will say that against Nick, this is the first game of the event that I have used any sort of unit revive, and I used Nagash to bring back the full unit of Morbid Knights.
Okay.
In the last turn, in the last real turn of the game, and then we were able to kind of talk it out from that point. But that was the first time I used the revive. And for the record, just spoiler alert, the only time I used it, except for in the finals, again, when we were trying to figure out like final scores and stuff, to just like run away, boom, resummon these guys as far away as I can, take that point. We're going through that stuff, but like the revive is so good that I wasn't having to refill the units, the refill was so good I wasn't having to revive the full strength units
because your Crypt Hunter was kicking around and surviving. You were doing that trick with the spell,
or rally, and the trick with the spell, exactly, all that stuff. So
good tools.
I had an early night. We went to eat at some Mexican restaurant that was like a tamale themed place that apparently used to be a food truck and then grew into a hole in the wall kind of place, and then now it's like a corner spot in Seattle.
Oh, that's cool.
It was pretty good. I had I actually ended up having some like carnitas tacos, but very good, very good. Then I actually had an early night. I went and got back and called my wife when we were chatting for a bit at the Airbnb, and then I just like passed out in the bed because I was drained. But woke up the next morning. See, where did we go? Trying to remember if I got an energy drink or not.
That's a good question, because the other tournament, which granted did result in the golden ticket for you, you got some coffee shop food, you had something cool drink,
right?
But it was not a
classic Seattleite.
I think I did have an energy drink. I think I had a Ghost, and it was my flavor, or sorry, the one I drink all the time is the sour watermelon.
Classic one,
which is also a very good flavor.
I remember because I stopped the night before to get snacks and bought one to have it.
Because you knew that you might be in a similar situation. You were planning ahead.
I might be feeling spooky. So
there you go.
I was bringing the Ghosts, so we were getting spooky.
This is fantastic. I'm gonna pop off for this one and leave it in capable hands of you, Mason, and you, Rocco, to bring this one home.
All right.
Okay, love you, buddy. Have a good night.
You too.
So day 2 started with a really tough match. I ended up playing against Mike Maccabee from Team America. I think he was a finalist at LVO this year. He had flown up to play at this tournament. So I knew he was playing Nurgle, Blockkin, and 20 Blight Kings, and Bloweb, and the Slimix.
It's a good list.
Yeah. Really scary list. However, he has to play very carefully because that's a lot of points in heroes that can just get hand of dusted.
Yes, it is.
Yes. We were playing this one on limited resources. So a tough mission for me, but he is also, again, a light body, big hero list. So yes, it's swingy and slappy, but I have revive and he does not. Yeah, I have a lot of heal, so the disease is like almost negligible this game, and I
Yeah.
can't hand of dust the heroes. So
Yeah.
I won't go into like too much crazy detail, but there was a nice little like death alley in the middle that he kind of decided to. When I made him go first, he's like, "I'm going to take this center. I'm just going to run up the board and have these guys have all the monsters shift over to my right hand flank." I
Mhm.
decided to have Usharon and my horrors take that death fight. I said,
Yep.
I think I can outfight this actually. And I had Nagash and the Morbegs swing up on the opposite side. So we did a nice little like yin
Yeah.
yang shift, right?
Yeah.
I was correct for the most part in my understanding of how I could fight out that middle. I used endless spells and other stuff to kind of just like keep pressure on this one side and force the Glocken away. I did get lucky. He failed like a 7 or an 8-inch charge after a redeploy for Glocken to like come take my far back home objective because he was kind of shifting around that way. Got really lucky with that. I did lose my Haunter early on this one, but
Oh.
the positioning that he had to make the Blight Kings be in, like between Usharan and 6 horrors at that point, meant like they were dying,
Yeah.
So I think I ended up winning this one like 42-30, something like that on limited resources. Yeah,
What
just
was the
because
MVP moment of this game here? Like what stood out for you?
I think this is going to sound funny, but the MVP moment was having Nagash be such a threat that I literally had to do nothing with him all game except for move him.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't revive. I did cast spells, but the spells largely did nothing because they were kind of just protecting Nagash and staying
Screens.
with him. Yeah, kind of, but I didn't even need him. They were just like that's where he was, so that's where I could cast him,
Gotcha.
Um
Okay.
and so he never charged, he never fought, he never revived, but his presence alone made everything else possible. And then
And it does as a
probably
rampage. It really
yeah,
makes you rethink what you can do when you're playing Hero Hammer.
yeah. Then at one point I did have like 5 horrors almost kill Glocken in one swing. They dealt like 17 of his 24 health or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was a great game. I had some really hot dice. I think that game, if I remember correctly, he pointed it out, and my buddy did. Like I think at one point I had to roll like 18 of the Morbeg Knight mount attacks, and they're on 4s 3s, and I was -1 to hit, so it was 5s 3s, and I think I made like 14 or 15 of the 18. Yeah. So definitely big apologies there. When that happens, I'm like, so I'm sorry, dude. I don't because those are the 2 damage ones, and that's just gross. Yeah.
Nice.
But that meant that I was into Dylan in the finals.
Going at the big Dill Pickle right there.
Yeah, exactly. Into cities. I actually thought I had a pretty
Into
good matchup.
cities. Okay.
Yeah, Dylan was playing cities. Yep.
Nice.
A couple of units of hammerers, 20 dark shards, some dark riders.
Dark riders. Okay, we like the tech.
Callus
We
and
like the
Toll,
tech.
Command Core.
Yep.
All the players. Galen, Dorelia.
And Galen and Dorelia too.
Yep. So yeah,
Next, you're gonna tell
all
me
the juice.
the priest
really
is
good.
Gonna be there next.
A really, really good list into Nagash because Callus and Toll alone can just like fuck a bone daddy.
Double damage into priests and wizards.
Yeah.
There he was, and also you can't insta kill both of them with the hand of dust because they have the rule of one. You can only kill the one of them at a time.
So I thought we were also playing on what's this one called? Focal points.
Marbles. Focal
a
points
great mission
for all
for
the
me.
marbles.
Yeah, great mission for me. I talked to some friends just about the saying, how's the tournament going? Some people, confidants that I trust, that I like, talking about the match. They give me the advice. I'm not blaming them. I'm just painting a picture. They give me the advice to take first in this matchup because I'm going to outdrop, and they said, get on the points, get your defenders of the realm up, be tanky. They're not going to be able to deal enough damage to you.
With 2 damage hammers and double damage. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they're like, we got to play it safe. We got to do these things. Bing, boom, boom. Got to do it this way. Okay. So I decided to take the advice. The logic was sound.
No, that's fair because you do have your ward saves. They can't get every dwarf into you. You've got the
I got all the spells off with Nagash. I had his
Okay.
whole butthole screen and zoned out.
Yeah.
Didn't have that for Nagash. There was an opportunity where I could have just kept the Crypt Haunter like over to the right and back from Usharan and really and zoned out where Callus and Toll could come in. So even if I was sacrificing him, it was in an effort to be able to go
Protect
first
the
and do
peace.
what I was trying to do. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, and so Usharan was at risk of dying from the backfield here now. I did have some nice plays. Some things happened, but Dylan did make like 3 or 4 9-inch charges, which is just, who knows? That's how it works. Yeah. And that's not insane, but I like it when you make 0 of 9, but we did the opposite today.
Might be the flashpoint moment too of screening and the importance of area denial too with your smaller units and your endless spells that have the movement.
And I actually took bodyguard this game with the Morbeg Knights into Nagash because that was the general. But you see, I think in hindsight of what I was going to do, perhaps I should have put Nagash where Usharan was and the Morbegs where the horrors were and done something different on the other side to say, okay, yeah, come fight me in the middle and fight my bodyguard thing, my big health stuff. I could have had Nagash shifted over a bit, so I could have thrown an endless spell to protect Usharan's flank also, instead of just putting him farther to the left and putting all the spells over there. Could have just shifted him over, dropped a spell over there, protected him that way, and the Crypt Horror, right? And either way, I had an idea.
You've got Gravetide that does take up a lot of space.
Yeah, right. I did. I did a lot of things correct. He got those charges. That was pretty good. He killed Usharan to the wound with the last activation on bottom of 1, right?
It took 3 9-inch charges to do it too. So again, we're playing on the edges of variance here.
For sure. But Dylan's playing great though, right? And I took a risk, and I took a risk that I had not practiced, which was mistakes 1 and 2 for me. But
I mean that's why I'm a little shocked too. All right, okay.
Yeah, I've been doing great all weekend, giving away first turn, hoping for a double and just smashing through. Probably should have done that, but it's all groovy, baby. So we then get to play a pretty quick game from that point out because he doubles me, does a lot of damage. Nagash doesn't die. The Morbegs don't quite die, but I'm limited. I revived some stuff with Nagash, like I said, to after I move over, get a double back, take some points. So this one
we're trading blows.
Ended up being, and so did he, right? And so it ended up being a very cat and mouse from that point with tricks and not really fighting until we had to.
Those are fun games though, because it's the mind game of it then. Because
sure,
it's a knife fight. You're trying to get the
I had been crippled and down in points enough that it was kind of for naught, but he ended up winning that one 46-41. So tight game.
For not, that's 5 points, man. That's a battle tactic and hold more one time.
Right. I know. But it was one of those where it was pretty much like mathematically impossible to win, even though it was going to be tight and close. We were competitors, no doubt. But but a foregone conclusion what the winner was going to be.
Because that's the thing about, again, putting so many points into your own heroes too. You feel that loss if Usharan gets punked right away. You feel Nagash if he gets punked right away by Callus and Toll doing 4 damage shots or whatever, stabs or whatever.
Exactly.
The double damage. I think it's 1 damage pistol to 2 and then 2 damage sword to 4. But you get the point.
Yeah, but great opponent, a good guy. He and I have been very friendly and chatted online quite a bit. Messed around with Minutemen stuff together, Release the Beast stuff together. So
that's right.
We're no stranger. Yeah, we're no stranger to one another. He was also a lovely gentleman. He had flown in from Boston, so he did win best general on the day on the tournament and got his golden ticket. So
nice.
Kudos to him. Congratulations, of course.
Little golf clap.
I had already gotten my ticket, so golf clap indeed. So I'll get to celebrate and spend some joyous time together, hopefully in Atlanta with him. But we were talking, and I was explaining to him the prize, the mat, right? I was like,
Yeah.
man, I'm bummed because I actually didn't expect to be doing so well with the list. It was fun. I know it's good, but it was more for funsies. And I was crushing it. I had to like fight a murderer's row at the end of there to get to where I was. So I was like, yeah. So I was like,
Mason,
man,
that
I really
keeps happening to you, man. You keep
I
going
know,
and
yeah.
flying close to the sun, and usually you put the sun out. So this is
true.
there you go.
But I was telling him about it. He had no idea what they were. We were talking about it. I was telling him I have a couple of the mats already. And Dylan says to me, well, dude, you know, I am in Seattle traveling for a couple of days and then going straight to Adepticon. I can't even take it with me. So I'd love to give it to you. I'd love to give you the mat, you know, because you expressed to me that why you wanted it. And it's an Usharon play mat. And I was playing Usharon and Flesh Eater Courts, right? And it's my main army.
Main army.
So I told him that I'll write property of Dylan on the back in Sharpie, but I will gladly keep it at my house, safe for him.
Very nice.
So that was real lovely, you know, really to cap off what a cool time to meet somebody I've chatted with a bunch. And, you know, I made some uncharacteristic mistakes perhaps, but he beat my butt fair and square. And then,
and you know what? He was good enough to force you to make mistakes, Mason. That's the other thing, you know?
Yeah. And let me walk away with the prize that I really wanted, which was just very cool. So, I think I was also one of the only one or two people that got to leave with 2 medals. I wish I would have got them there in the car still, but for gold medal for best name for 2 Dads, 1 Chalice. Nice. And then I think I technically was awarded bronze medal or 3rd place for best general.
Okay. And then that you still fought for every point for your placing too, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I had a good showing. I was super happy with my list and myself on the weekend. Yeah. I would love to see how that match goes if I invert strategy a bit and see how I can do it another way. But but it was pretty good, man. I had a blast. Really cool event. I gave Beasley kudos a ton of times, and I'll do it again here. It has to be such a cool privilege and feeling to run like a very successful large event, the largest one we've had up here. And you know,
shout out to Ricky too for the prize support with the mats. And all the other TOs that helped.
Bryce Copeland was helping him with the day stuff. So
nice.
Really cool stuff. Lots of new faces. Love to see all that. Lots of people love our show. They come and say hi, and they know us from there, and they want to talk to us, and I love that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, keep it coming. I'm happy to answer questions and meet you and give you dice and talk Warhammer. I think that we're just finishing up our TTS tournament.
We are.
Jack, who had to step away, and myself are the 3-0s from the tournament, which is funny because we weren't going to take any of the fun like stickers or dice or whatever prizes.
It's whoever's the actual Patreon. That's
exactly. So
the regular, not the host. You don't ever want to win your own shit when you're. But you know it happens sometimes.
Yeah, in fact, because we won, we should double whatever it is that we're giving and send it to them.
When it's time.
But Jack and I, because we're both 3-0 and both hosts, we're going to try to set up a show match to duke it out. He and I for the official true winner of the tournament. On paper, officially, I think I'm the winner because I'm cooler than he is. But
I think so. I think that's how that worked out. You know.
Yeah.
I think on points too, but
I don't know. We only use the rule of cool here, and the boys got it this time around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if Jack was here, he'd say something, but he ain't here right now.
Yeah, right. That's why we get to throw a little shade. But man, I liked the tournament. I unfortunately had to drop out of my next tournament, which is just in a few weeks in April. No big deal. Just some family work travel stuff conflicting with it. Yeah.
You know, you need work-life balance even with your hobbies. You know, and hey, you got your golden ticket, you punched your ticket. You've had a lot of fun. You're scoring those internet points, man. You have a great time.
Yeah. And this next event will probably be like right after the battle scroll, which in one hand would be cool, but I could also just take some time to absorb it and
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was super fun weekend. Love seeing all my Corsairs up here. Shout out to the boys.
Hell yeah.
And Jess, she's pregnant. Ben and Jess
Ooh.
Schmuller having a baby, but they still
Nice.
came and hung. Their car got messed up. They like got
no.
here and then like the car wouldn't start, and so they had
Oh,
to
shit.
Ben had to like miss the first round and take a bye, and it's like a whole thing. But thankfully, it was an easy fix, a couple $100 fix. Like just put a hose back on or something. I don't know. But love those guys.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Cover shout outs and any other things stick out to you about the tournament? Any like closing cool thing happen? Any?
You know, I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, there are 26 factions in Age of Sigmar right now, including Bone Splitters and Beasts of Chaos. There were 26 factions represented at this
Shut
tournament.
up. Yeah?
I swear. Yeah.
Shout out to the Bone Splitters and the Beasts of Chaos before they go down the drain.
I was lending somebody Matt's Beasts of Chaos, somebody up from Team America playing those. And then Tom, the guy I mentioned earlier, I went to Canada with, still just standing the the Bone Splitters. It's been his thing. It's all he plays.
Nice.
He's being forced to go to Git Mob, but he's really excited for it. But
the new models are pretty freaking cool with those chariots.
They are very cool. Yeah. The last thing that I thought was interesting is the most popular army of the tournament was Seraphon, not Slaves or Stormcast.
Okay.
Yeah, Seraphon at 10 representation, Slaves at 8. So
for those listening, I made a very shocked face.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Were there a lot of croak lists? Was it like a mixed bag of different things? Like
I'm guessing, but it was probably more than half croak, more than half not croak. There were at least 2 or 3 that were non-croak lists that were playing like regular Salon instead.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, regular Salon are still good, to be honest with you, but all right, okay.
Right.
We
there
like
were 2
diversity.
5-0s. Dylan and then Matthias also got a 5-0 with Daughters of Cain.
With Daughters?
Well done to him. Yeah. New army for him, too. He just picked it up.
Yeah, I didn't think he played it. Okay.
Yeah.
But they, you know, good for him, man. Good shit. Good shit.
But yeah, it was a all-around banger weekend. I really had a fun time.
Hell yeah, man.
You got any final thoughts, buddy?
I love hearing all your stories of all the tournaments and stuff you do. Love doing this podcast with you and Jack and Matt and everyone else. And hopefully our viewers and listeners had a good time. You know, and yeah, can't wait to get my ass kicked.
Get in touch if you have questions, if you like the list and want to know about it. If you want to be a part of our TTS tournaments, get on the Discord, like, subscribe, comment.
We got a merch store.
Discord name into the sky.
Yeah.
Harass Matt.
Join our hobby hangouts.
True. Wednesdays.
We do have weekly hobby hangouts.
Yeah. Look for our next TTS tournament. Let's try to get like 24 for this one. Shoot for the moon.
Yeah. Again, and it's low commitment. It's a game a week. They had even a week, a game every 7 to 10 days, depending on schedules and how we're doing it.
Right. Easy.
So it's very low commitment.
We'll teach you how to play.
Yeah. Lord knows we got enough videos between me, this, and other people putting out TTS stuff from back in the day and now. And if you want to, the other thing too with all that is like we've seen like a lot of Worlds players use it because it's literally just the game. So if you want to use it to practice and get better and see all these different armies and builds that people are coming up with, where you're like, how the hell did they know to buy 10 boxes of Trogs? What was the secret sauce? What kind of savant? It's because they went on to something and proxied the models and did that. And generally, that's this.
Right.
But yeah, I think we got the promotion and everything else. I think we're in a good place.
Okay.
Does that mean we got to go for the last word?
The last bird. Yep, exactly. Watch the next video for a couple more recaps on Sparkle Party.
Yeah, I mean, I can't cut off in the middle of that. That'd be fucking rude.
That'd be a bad bird.
Yeah, it would be, especially left off on a curse. Like, you know.